One down and 2 to go. Now that the Dallas Cowboys have signed wide receiver CeeDee Lamb to a deal worth $136 million, plus the largest signing bonus ever by a receiver. Good for him. Where does that leave the team in its contract discussions with who? Their quarterback, Dak Prescott. And guess what? Somehow Jerry Jones found a mic to talk about it.
Dak's situation right now, for me, from my mirror, has more to do with our situation than it does with the merits of Dak Prescott being quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. I've quit a long time ago getting bent out of shape about having anybody under contract or not. And there's all kinds of other things other than a contract that could change the outcome of him being under contract. Injury, level of play. So you can't just pick that and say, that should give you a better feeling about our team or me a better feeling about it. The whole thing has a lot of moving parts. Now, I can live with that. Sometimes it's worked out really well. Sometimes taking those risks will bite you.
High risk, high reward for the high roller. Kimberley Martin, here's where I want to take this conversation, because we've talked about Dak and CeeDee Lamb and Micah, and they need the deals quite a bit. When should they get them, et cetera? What message is Jerry sending? Let's talk about Dak. Should Dak want out of Dallas?
Yeah, with the quickness. Not because Dallas is a terrible place to be, but because Dak, few quarterbacks besides Kirk Cousins, have had this sort of leverage where you can hit free agency and no restrictions. You can be out there. All the suitors that may want you can come to your doorstep and say, yeah, we got something for you. Take this bag of money. Dak, a guy who's had to wait for his money in several situations, now can step into next offseason knowing, I'm going to be good, whether it's here, whether it's elsewhere. And there's something about like being wanted. You know what I mean? There's just something about it. Makes it glow a little bit. And I think with Dak, the chatter in Dallas is just, it's never felt like in Buffalo with Josh Allen, where regardless of what anybody else thinks, in Buffalo, JA-17 is their guy, ride or die.
Yeah.
In Cincinnati, in Burrow, we trust. In Dallas, it's like, we like him, but it's that hesitation.
Yeah.
And I'm very big on, do you want me or do you not want me?
Yeah.
It is very clear. And if I'm Dak, I'm not feeling the love. And after I've watched Kirk Cousins get $100 million, best believe, no, I want to test the market.
I like that answer.
I knew you would, girl. I knew you would.
I struggle with this question.
Yeah? Tell me why.
I do. Because, Kimberly, you bring up some great points. I do think seems like from the fan base, there's always been like some apprehension with Dak Prescott. Even from like the
compared to Tony Romo. And it's like the records haven't been much different.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, Dak Prescott has all the leverage in this situation. And I know it's like, well, where could you possibly see Dak Prescott if he left the Dallas Cowboys? How about a team we already talked about?
Who?
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's a good one.
I mean, like, you're talking about a team that hasn't figured out.
I didn't think of that. That is a really good one. A team that hasn't figured out, post Big Ben Roethlisberger. Yeah.
It's been just dying for some type of stability at the quarterback situation. Could you imagine a Dak Prescott with the Pittsburgh Steelers?
I love that.
The way we'd be talking about them, as it relates to, the other teams in the AFC.
Yeah.
But Molly, here's a flip side of that. There's something with playing with the star on your helmet.
Yeah.
There is something that when we talk about the iconic quarterbacks.
But yellow and black, that's iconic to the Steelers. Are iconic too.
It is.
But listen what he's saying. That star, it'll take you far. That's what Jerry knows.
I mean, we're talking.
Will it take you far though, or will it take you to the first round of the playoffs?
Oh no. We're talking post-career, baby girl. We're talking post-career. We're talking about that setup.
Yeah, but Super Bowls would take you far.
Yeah, but that's.
I will say this also, Molly. If the ultimate goal is to win the Super Bowl, which path would be easier? Let me hear what Steve got to say.
Although it is always a beautiful, beautiful thing to be able to troll Dallas Cowboy fans everywhere, because they are truly the most nauseating, disgusting fan base in American history, I'm not trolling when I say the kind of things that I'm about to say. I'm not playing. And it's entirely possible that I will run into Dak Prescott in the very near foreseeable future. If he asks what I'm about to say, I will tell him to his face. And that is this. Dak Prescott probably would need to leave Dallas, but Jerry Jones also should consider wanting him to. At some point in time, you got to produce. You got to show up. And it has to be in the postseason. See, we can't look at basketball with LeBron James, at baseball with an Aaron Judge or somebody on the Dodgers, in boxing, whether it's a Deontay Wilder or, Ryan Garcia or Gervonta Davis or somebody. We can't look in tennis with Djokovic and all of these guys. We can't look at golf with Tiger Woods or whomever else we want to come up with in this day and age, because we know that Tiger Woods ain't what he used to be. We can't look at stars and say the moment is important with them, but when it comes to Dak Prescott, we going to lean on the regular season. We going to lean on moments that really are not nearly as important as the bigger moments when talking about championship equation. Dak Prescott is not a scrub, and I hope he's watching. He is a terrific football player. He is a terrific quarterback. He was runner-up for league MVP, y'all. Last year to Lamar Jackson. He is all that and a bag of chips until Christmas expires. Once Christmas passes and New Year arrives and the playoffs are about to begin, there's an APB out for that brother. And the fact of the matter is he hasn't been found in 5 years. When we gonna say it? It's time to say it. Now, I said this before, and I'm going to give y'all the numbers and put Kimberley and Woody up on the screen so everybody, I want to see them. First 4 seasons, Dak Prescott, 2 Pro Bowl appearances, 1 playoff win, earned $4.9 million. Last 4 seasons, 1 playoff victory, 1 Pro Bowl appearance, $157.4 million. When the brother got paid, the results didn't come with him. I got to take that into consideration when I'm thinking about paying you.
Hold up 1 sec. Do this thought experiment for me. Because the question is, and I get where you're going, interesting answer, should Dak want out of Dallas? I want you to put yourself in Dak Prescott's shoes and what could be a good move for him. Because clearly they're not all in on him. That's evident.
Minnesota with a guy like Justin Jefferson. Miami, even though they got Tua, but he can't win in inclement weather. He can't win in weather below 70 degrees. So we got to work on him about that. But Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, guys like that, yeah, something like that, sure. Those are names that have come to mind. Here's why the Pittsburgh Steelers don't come to mind. The Pittsburgh Steelers don't come to mind because even though they're not the star, they're not the Dallas Cowboys, obviously they're one of the elite franchises in NFL annals with one of the strongest fan bases in the history of the National Football League. Wherever pressure is, Dak Prescott hasn't shown that's where he needs to go. Now, he could correct it.
Yeah.
He could do something different, but I'm talking about the 8 years we've had to defer to. He don't look like pressure's his thing.
Miami's not realistic because obviously they just re-signed Tua.
Minnesota.
We know Pittsburgh is. Minnesota, I don't feel like is sexy enough, Stephen A, to leave the Cowboys.
That's why I said it.
They literally have
that's why I said it, Molly.
Yeah, so that can't happen.
Molly, that's why I said it.
No,
I'm
I
saying
get it.
because it's not sexy enough.
Yeah, but
that's exactly what I'm saying.
I'm not saying this because I'm a Giants fan.
It makes that's the team.
But to me, that's the move. When I look at guys like even the kind of career Eli's had or a Michael Strahan, it matters playing in New York. No, if we're just talking, you talked about the star, right? And the post-career and the afterlife of playing for the Dallas Cowboys and all the opportunities and all the shine, et cetera. I think New York City can compete with that.
No.
1,000%.
Yes, it can, Steve.
He's saying Stephen A can't.
Do you think Michael Strahan's Michael Strahan if he's Minnesota Vikings?
Molly,
and I love Michael Strahan, and I think
Molly,
he's incredibly talented.
Once again, Molly, you want to debate me, but you ain't listening to my point. I'm saying New York City is a pressure cooker. Wherever pressure is, Dak Prescott doesn't need to be. That's what I'm saying.
Well, if he's fully supported and they're all in on him.
He's talking about the
Well,
mental
supported.
makeup of Dak. He's talking about the mental makeup of Dak. The pressure. And I don't agree with that. The pushback
His
that I have.
mental makeup is that because I feel like they don't have his back.
How much backing
I'm
do you
just telling
need?
you, how many times does your owner have to come out? Stephen A., how would you feel like if your
How
boss
would
came
you-
out and was like,
how would
hey,
you feel,
Stephen
Stephen?
A.'s okay, I could do
How
without
would
Stephen
you
A.
feel,
How would you
Stephen?
feel? That's what happens
Actually,
with him on a daily basis, Stephen A.
Time out. Actually, bosses have done that in my career. And what they've learned is that even though that'll piss me off, I show up and produce. That's the difference. Dak hasn't. He doesn't.
He does in the
he
regular
hasn't.
season. It's not just on him, though, Stephen A. Losing in the playoffs,
That's
you know
the
that.
Pushback. That's the pushback for me. Stephen wants to put it all at Dak's feet.
not all
We
him.
literally were on the show yesterday talking about Jerry Jones, thinking he's a great GM and a great owner. And we
Who said that?
literally.
I specifically said no to that question.
Okay, sir, you're here. I need you here. Just relax for a second.
6-inch voices? We're in the library.
I'm saying we discussed Jerry Jones thinking that he is a great owner and GM. We debated that. Jerry, despite 25, 29 years of them not getting to a title game, not getting to a Super Bowl, Jerry in his head still thinks he's great. And yet we have seen other franchises, other GMs, other owners literally go all in. We've seen GMs put talent surround their quarterbacks with talent, so there is no question about whether the goal is to win a Super Bowl. We've seen other franchises make moves to get the right head coaches to build a potential playoff team and a Super Bowl team. And in
You know
Dallas,
what's
my
criminal
friends,
about your take?
What?
Your take is criminal because you covered the NFL and you know the NFL better than most. Kimberly, you know when the season is over and you have to go on television or you have to go to a locale at any NFL city to report on a story, what are you talking about? You're talking about contract negotiations. Tell me the person that walks into the negotiation talking about what's around them. They talk about them. This is what I can bring to the table. They talk about Dak Prescott getting $60 million. $60 million. I mean, wait a minute, a year. Who are these people? I don't want to hear about that.
Here's the question. No.
Go
it's
ahead.
leverage.
Finish your thought.
It's about leverage.
It's
Finish your
about
thought.
leverage, but also the top paid quarterbacks. Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Jordan Love, Tua, Jared Goff, Justin Herbert, Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson. So you want to sit here and talk about how dare Dak command? The market dictates that he can command that because it's not about who's the best quarterback, should be the highest paid. It's not about that. And you know better than anybody.
You lost your other point again. You lost your point again because you said just a few minutes ago that star means something. Well, guess what? Those other players that you mentioned, they need football to make their bag. Dak Prescott doing commercials. Dak Prescott wearing that star. There's a magnetism that comes with him on Madison Avenue because he's wearing the star. But this brother can't show up come postseason.
Oh my
That's a
God,
problem.
Stephen A. The point is, it's not just on him. That's why I think we keep having the same conversation, the same narrative. Dak can't get it done in the playoffs. Jerry doesn't know if we want. That's why it's time to just change the scenery and leave. Go to Pittsburgh. Go to New York. Start over. Be appreciated. Like, I'm all about the grass isn't greener on the other side, but like at this point, it just feels like it's not working there, and they should both move on. Get Shedeur Sanders, and he should go be a New York Giant. And
we agree on number one. We agree on that, number one. But number two, can we all refrain from insulting everybody's intelligence with the obvious? We know one player doesn't determine everything. It's 53 guys on a roster. We get that, y'all. We don't need to state the obvious. Here's the bigger point. When you walk to the negotiating table, you're representing yourself and making a case for what you earn. I'm simply saying Dak Prescott can ball, but somehow, some way, if you're a scrub and you're a scrub all year, fine. If you're marginal all year, fine. You're average all year, fine. But when you're great in moments, but when the big moment arrives, you conspicuously shrink. That says something. It matters.
Has he had a great play caller? Has he had a great coach?
Steven.
I wouldn't say that, no.
Yeah.
Steven, when you go into the
Well, they say Kellen Moore was, though. They do. I don't know about that, but they do say that.
When you sit down to negotiate, you talk about, I'm different. I'm special. Y'all can win with me. But you also point out, but that person who's doing what I do, they're making this. I need to be there. That's also part of the negotiation. So please don't act like the regular season and his playoff record should dictate how much money you get, because the NFL doesn't operate like that. The NFL operates where if you know you have a franchise guy, you lock him up. Because
fine, Kimberly. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you a thing or two about business. Let me be very, very clear. You can't sit up there and say, well, excuse me, this is what I deserve and this is what I earn. You can't point to what the market dictates, et cetera, et cetera. But you know what else you got to do? You got to sit up there and say, yeah, this is what I did, but this is also what I'm going to do.
Got it.
Here I come. Now, and what I'm saying is, can Dak Prescott say that? Can he say that? I'm not saying he doesn't deserve his money. He's going to get his money. We all know he's going to get $55 to $60 million. That's a given. I'm simply saying if you're Jerry, there's nothing wrong with you going like this. Man, I want to make him sweat. I don't want him too damn comfortable. Like
how has that worked out for him, Stephen A? How has that approach worked with him? If you have to adapt yourself to different players, how has that worked for Jerry?
Well,
making him sweat a little. Has that helped him to perform? Absolutely not.
No owner.
Well, when has Dak Prescott sweated other than that one time with the contract that he ultimately got $75 million in 2 years?
I will say this. I will say this.
Always, Stephen A.
I will say this.
We just talked about how Tony Romo was the beloved child. Come on, you know that.
That's what I was talking about. That's what I was talking about, Molly. I said,
Damien, please.
No, I will listen. I will say this, man. It's like Jerry Jones would be totally within his right if say last year plays out again this year.
Yeah.
And they go out and play, and Jerry Jones said, you know what? I'm tired of seeing the same script over and over again. I want to hit the reset button at the quarterback. That's fine. Regardless, Dak Prescott is going to get paid.
Exactly.
He's going to get his bag.
We know he's going to get paid.
Yeah, he's going to get paid because there's just the deficiency of high-end quarterback play in the National Football League.
Seriously, all seriousness. Do you believe that there's somebody out there that you can find that can win 2 playoff games in 8 years?
If I got a team around me, can do that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do that.
What I'm saying is, if you're Jerry Jones,
do you
that is the point.
Do you believe Dak Prescott could win a couple playoff games if all things were right?
Do I believe that?
Yeah. If he had the right talent around him, he had a great coach that knew the rules, he had a great play caller, you think he could do that?
Based off of what I've seen, I do not believe that right now. That's my issue.
Okay.
And they should have got Derrick Henry. That way they could take some of the pressure off of him, hand the ball, because I know he can hand the ball off. They should have got Derrick Henry. Dalvin Cook and Ezekiel Elliott, good luck. I respect them both. Good luck.
Again, on Jerry. That's on Jerry.